Hi guys, welcome back to the Art of Server. So today's video is one that I wasn't really sure if I wanted to make this video. A little while ago in January, somebody bought a card like this, a genuine LSI 92018 8i card from my store. And I think the day it was delivered, the person immediately opened up a return saying, oh, I changed my mind or something like that, or no longer needed it, and wanted to send it back. So, okay, you know, I'm okay with that. I understand sometimes people's plans change and you no longer need something, then, you know, go ahead and send it back. And so a couple days later, the return package arrived. And remember, I sold something like this, which is a genuine LSI card. Well, what I got in the mail was this. And first of all, this is not how I package products. And I know that, you know, okay, you might not send it back in the original packaging. That's okay, as long as it's protected and comes back safely and undamaged, then, you know, no big deal. But I kind of recognize this packaging because this is very common packaging for whatever reason. I don't know why, but this yellow tape, anything I ever get from China somehow is always wrapped in yellow tape. So there's an abundance of yellow tape over in China there, and that's what they use. So it kind of made me a little suspicious. And so I opened it up. And so I want to share this with you guys, what I got back. So the guy didn't buy cables from me, so those are not my cables, that's for sure. And nice packaging, I like the clamshell, but that's not this, right? So obviously, yeah, so this is what they sent back to me. And this is actually not a card that I sell in my store at all. And so I'm going to explore this a little bit and check it out with you. But yeah, so basically this is a return fraud case. They bought something for whatever reason, they didn't like it, and they wanted something from my store, bought it, and then sent me back, I guess, what they didn't want. You know, eBay is pretty lenient about things like that. They do monitor that type of return fraud activity, but if it's your first offense, usually, you know, you can get away with it. And so anyway, I ended up with a product I have no use for because I don't sell this product. I don't even know what it is. I can't vouch for it. I don't sell anything at my store that I would not use myself. And so since I don't know what this is, I wouldn't use it. But anyway, you know, I guess if you're an eBay seller, return fraud happens, right? It's happened. This is not the first time it's happened to me, but it's never fun. It's never fun because I put my heart and soul into the things that I sell in my store. And if you've been to my store and you've messaged me, you know that I always try my best to help you guys out and help you choose the right products, make sure that you get a good product in your hands when you order one, you know. So this type of stuff, it's really, really unfortunate. And I kind of want, you know, whenever I encounter it, and I know, like, again, it's not my first time, but whenever I encounter it, it kind of upsets me a little bit. It's you know, it's not just about like the business transaction in terms of like a loss here, but the fact that, like, you know, I put myself out there helping like thousands and thousands of people, answering, like, you know, I can't tell you how many messages I get every day, trying to help people out, and then, you know, occasionally someone with a lesser character comes along. But anyway, you know, so I figure, well, what's the saying? if you get lemons, make lemonade. So I figure, hey, let's make lemonade out of this. Let's go explore a little bit. Let's see what this card is about. Like I said, I've never seen this card firsthand. I've seen this kind of floating around on eBay here and there. I suspect, based on kind of the things I've seen online, that this is an Inspur card. And so Inspur is a server manufacturer in China, and they make a lot of servers. And in fact, some of the, I don't know exactly which brands now, but some of the servers that are sold under like brands like, you know, HP, Oracle, Cisco, I think at one time or another they were made by Inspur. And so so it's not surprising that they also make server storage controller cards. And so this probably is an LSI based SAS controller of some sort. I don't know exactly what kind. It's interesting. I mean, there is no LSI logo on it, or is there? Well, hold on a second. There's a little silver sticker here. I want to peel that off and let's see what's underneath that. You know, a lot of these vendors from China, for whatever reason, like to stick. Oh yeah, so it says, okay, so it does say Inspur, so it is in fact Inspur. So here, let me show you so you can see that name. So it's an Inspur card for sure now, I guess. Yeah, for whatever reason, some of these Chinese sellers like to put a sticker over the logos. I don't know why that is. I've seen that with LSI cards where they cover up the LSI logo, and in this case, they're covering up the Inspur logo. I kind of recognize it just because I've heard of Inspur before, and I've seen some of these cards floating around on eBay. So I kind of recognized it a little bit visually, but I just wasn't 100% sure. But, you know, I guess now we know. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and throw this in the server and check it out and see what kind of card it actually is. All right, guys, so I got the card in my Flash server, and system's booted up. I'm logged in on the shell here. And so let's see if we find an LSI card of some sort. All right, so it is a serial attached SCSI controller, SAS2308. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so the PCIe ID, the sub-product ID at least, is saying that this is a 92078i card. So that's rather interesting because the person who bought my card and returned this to me actually bought a SAS 2008 card. So that would have been a, you know, their a 92018i. So this is actually a newer generation card than the one that they kept. So I'm not sure why they returned the newer generation card to me. I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with this card, I don't know. Okay, well, since it's a SAS 2000 or SAS 2308 card, let's see if let's see what it says. All right, so yeah, it's a SAS 2308 D1 revision. So this is a PCI 3.0 capable card. It's not the B0 revision, which is only PCI 2.0 capable. So so far, I mean, this seems like it's actually the better card than the one that they kept from my store. And SAS address is there. It is already in IT mode. Looks like it already has the latest IT mode firmware for the 2308 chipset. Yeah, the firmware is identifying itself as a 92078i. So I'm guessing that this is basically Inspur's version of the 92078i. And it has a BIOS ROM on it. I think that's one of the recent ones. UEFI BIOS is not there. F code's not there. Board name says eval board. So This might have been an engineering sample or something like that. And assembly and tracer are blank, basically. Okay, so this looks like it's a SAS2308 controller. You know, it's actually a newer generation card than the one that they got from my store. So I'm really not sure why they sent this card back to me. At least for spec wise, this is the better card. Although, you know, now that I know it's a SAS2308 card, one thing that concerns me a little bit, based on the visuals at least, is that when we were physically looking at the card earlier, it has a really small heatsink, and the 2308 chipset is actually gets very hot. So having a small heatsink on a very hot card is a little concerning. You probably need a lot of airflow, and maybe Inspur designed this specifically, you know, for the airflow configuration of their servers, which, you know, maybe, you know, they push a lot of air through their chassis. I don't know. I've never actually seen or used an Inspur server before, but knowing that it is a SAS2308 chipset and visually seeing that that heatsink was rather small, it's about the size of the 2008 chips heatsinks on the genuine LSI cards. Yeah, that might be a little bit small and might require more airflow to keep that card cool. So okay, well, I'm gonna check out the ports, see if there are any problems. I have this card now hooked up to the backplane. It's a SAS2 expander backplane. So you can see that all 8 links are up and all are linking at 60 qubits. So, you know, I mean, it really does seem like a perfectly functioning card, and it's a SAS2308 D1 revision chipset. So, well, you know, that's interesting. Like I said, I've never actually held a Inspur card in my hand, so it's kind of interesting to check it out. I don't know that I would necessarily prefer this over a LSI genuine LSI SAS2308 card, because the genuine LSI SAS2308 card actually has a pretty substantial heatsink, which is, you know, I think more appropriate for the amount of heat that comes out of this chip. My favorite of all the SAS2308s is really the Supermicro, who it's a custom design. It's not based on the LSI reference design, so it looks very different from the LSI 92078i card. Basically, it's very beefy and much larger heatsink, and it's Supermicro's own kind of design using that 2308 chipset. That would be my, if you were going to pick a SAS2308 card out of all the varieties out there, Supermicro is the one I would go with normally. And so yeah, anyway, just kind of sharing my thoughts with you guys in terms of what I'm seeing here. I mean, there's not much else to say, I think, at this point, other than I'm not sure why this person sent me this card when it's a newer generation card and seems to be working just fine. But hey, you know, I don't know, everybody's got their reasons, right? Would I carry this card in my store? Probably not. I don't, like, I try to use a lot of US vendors as my suppliers for where I source the stuff that I sell. And just because, you know, when you deal with Chinese vendors, I mean, there are some good ones, don't get me wrong, not all of them have a problem, but it's not uncommon for me to receive stuff that's kind of sketchy. And, you know, like I said, I've seen the whole put a sticker over the logo thing. Don't know why they do that. I've gotten ones where, you know, had all the characteristics of a counterfeit card, and so that's a hassle to return. And so I don't use Chinese vendors that often. And Inspur cards just really aren't around in the US market. Like, there's not a lot of Inspur servers and data centers here. And so a lot of the vendors that I use to supply my store are recyclers, and they dismantle stuff that's being retired from US data centers. And there's just frankly not a lot of Inspur stuff that I've seen through those channels. So if I were to start selling this card in my store, I'd probably have to source it from a Chinese vendor, and I could find a reputable one. That's possible. But considering that the heatsink is smaller on this card, and I don't really see any advantage of this card over, say, even the genuine LSI design. Much less the preferred super micro one that I really like. I see no advantage, unless it's maybe like dirt cheap, but I don't know. I haven't looked at pricing on this, or have asked any of my suppliers to quote me on this particular card, just because I've never actually considered it. So, but interesting to see what's out there. Yeah, so anyway, let me go ahead and shut this down, and we'll finish this up. All right, guys, so took the card back out of the server, and want to give you guys a visual. Like I was saying, this heatsink seems rather small for a SAS2308 chipset, and so here is the heatsink from a genuine LSI 9207-8i card. So you can see that the heatsink is wider in every dimension, and I think also thicker. Yeah, so even the LSI reference design has a beefier heatsink than this guy does. So, and this looks like it's aluminum. This is probably just anodized aluminum as well. But yeah, I suspect to keep this card running, cool enough, you're probably going to need a substantial amount of airflow over this card. In a server chassis, that's probably not a problem, unless you run the server in kind of energy efficient mode and have the fans kind of slowing down. That might be a problem. But if you spin up the fans in a server chassis, you're probably not going to have much of a problem. In a desktop environment, though, you probably want to mount a fan on this, or on in the slot next to it, blowing on this to keep it cool. And you're probably going to have to spin that fan up a little bit more than you would, say, a card like this. Even with the LSI reference design, I often recommend that people have a fan blowing on this heatsink if it's in a desktop case, just because, yeah, the 2308 chips do get really hot, and compared to like the SAS 2008. So I know, like, the 2308, yeah, technically spec wise is a better controller chip. It's this PCIe 3.0, it's faster and all that compared to the SAS 2008, but it's one of its weaknesses, I guess, or its disadvantage is that the fact that it gets so hot. If you're trying to build a silent PC and you don't want a lot of fans spinning at high RPMs, you're probably better off with a SAS 2008 type of card like this guy here. But yeah, you see, the heatsink to this card is almost the same size as the one from the 2008. So I actually thought this was going to be an Inspur version of the 92018i. And so I was a little surprised, actually, that this was a newer generation SAS 2308 card. So, well, anyway, just wanted to share this with you guys. I was learning something new. So yeah, there you have it. Well, hey, I know most of my viewers are not necessarily eBay sellers, but if you are an eBay seller, return fraud does happen. It sucks, and kind of, people kind of brush it off as cost of doing business. And I'm not saying I enjoy dealing with this kind of stuff, but it happens. But here's the thing, and I'm really, really grateful to the vast majority of you guys, because people who do this type of stuff is such a small percentage. It's like less than 1%. And that little bit of less than 1% is still unpleasant, don't get me wrong. But what kind of keeps me going is knowing that there's like over 99% of the people who come visit my store or watch my channel and choose to support me by buying stuff from my store. You guys are awesome. And I absolutely appreciate all of you guys who try to support my store from all over the world. And it's just amazing that, you know, little old me can sit here from my house and reach out to so many people all around the world. And I literally get, you know, so many messages every day, people asking for help and all that stuff, or just people just reaching out saying, hey, I love what you're doing, keep up the good work, from so many different parts of the world. Like, there's literally no continent that I've not received a message from other than Antarctica. So it's really awesome doing what I'm doing. I really enjoy it. I love helping you guys out. I love that you guys, when you comment and tell me that one of my videos has really helped you out and you learned something from it, you know, that's the best. And so you guys keep me going. Thank you very much. And I'm not going to let something like this ruin my day. So don't worry. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But I just want to say thank you to all who continue to support me and watch my content and you know, buy stuff from my store. So anyway, if you're new to this channel and you like server related content, and especially NAS, you know, storage servers, ZFS, Unraid, TrueNAS, that kind of stuff, you know, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like this video, give me that like. And if you want to support my channel, of course, go check out my eBay store. I'll leave a link down in the video description. And I've got the greatest selection of pre-flash, ready to go, fully tested, cleaned LSI HBA SAS controllers for your ZFS, Unraid, TrueNAS, or any other type of NAS build where you need an HBA controller. So go check out my store down in the video description. All right, guys, thank you very much and have a great day. Bye-bye.